Hey friends, welcome back. In this video, we'll look at a mental framework known as the Odyssey Plan, and this can help us navigate our life and put to paper our future plans. And by doing this, it allows us to identify passions or interests that we could be or should be working on in the present to make our future ambitions more likely. If we look at the term Odyssey itself, it quite literally means a series of wanderings or adventures, and it comes from the Greek poem Odyssey, which describes the long adventures of the Greek king Ulysses after his 10-year-long journey from the Trojan War. History lesson aside, the Odyssey Plan quite literally allows us to look at how our life could look like sometime in the future. In this video, we'll look at three things. We'll first look at what is an Odyssey Plan and how you can write your own Odyssey Plan. Then we'll look at how you can use this to identify your passions and interests. And then finally, having done all of this and having got all of this information, we'll look at how you can take the next steps in achieving your ideal life plan. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Yath. I'm a medical student at UCL in London, and on this channel I make videos about self-improvement, productivity and lifestyle. So what is an Odyssey Plan? It was first established by Stanford professor Bill Burnett in his module Design Your Life, which is a course taken by students at Stanford University. Bill Burnett is also the author of the book Design Your Life, which is apparently a step-by-step guide on how to achieve your ideal career. So he designed this as a tool for his students to help them identify their true passions and true interests, which therefore can help them identify what they should be doing in their life to achieve their ideal life. But I think it's a great tool for a lot of people like me, people younger than me, people older than me. I think this is a great tool because it allows you in a snapshot to see what your life could look like sometime in the future, and therefore it really helps you identify what you could be working on in the present moment. So the Odyssey Plan is when you map out the next 5 years of your life in 3 different versions depending on 3 different questions. To do this, you'd grab pen and paper, or if you're a Notion nerd like me, you'd just create a new page in Notion, and this is where you'll map out the next 5 years of your life. When you're writing the Odyssey Plan, you want to just remove all distractions and you want to be in a calm, collected environment. And when you're writing the plan, you don't want to overthink anything and you want to be writing everything down just as they come to your mind. Then you'll want to write down 3 different versions of the Odyssey Plan, taking into consideration 3 very important questions, and we'll discuss that very shortly. But in each of the plans, you want to be focusing on these elements: what your job looks like, what your relationships look like, what your free time or your side projects and your side interests, what do those look like, how do you spend your time throughout the week, are you mostly at work, are you mostly at home, where are you working in an office, are you working in a hospital, or are you creating or working from home, what are you doing with your time? You really want to be focusing on all of these aspects and really painting a picture for your entire life over the next 5 years. So the 3 different plans that you want to write are these. So plan A is if you followed your current trajectory, nothing changes and you just follow whatever it is you're currently pursuing, all of that kind of naturally progresses, and that's your plan A. For example, very quickly for me, that would mean graduating from medical school, starting my foundation years, and then carrying through into my training years. That's kind of generally what's going to happen in the next 5 years. And so the second version, or plan B, is when your life follows a different trajectory. Maybe it's another interest that you kind of have on your mind but you haven't really thought about it. If you were to follow this route, how would your life look like? And plan C, or as I like to call it, plan infinity, is when there are no restrictions, you can do whatever you want, so there are no financial issues, there are no social expectations. How would your life look like then, and what would you do with your time? So you have no constraints, no restrictions. How would your life pan out? So that's all there is to the first part of this video, which is all about writing your Odyssey Plan. In summary, you don't want to overthink anything and you want to write things down just as they come to mind. So remember, plan A is if you followed your sort of current lifestyle and current trajectory, and plan B is if you followed an alternative one, an alternative interest or an alternative career. And plan infinity is almost as if you've hacked a video game, you've unlocked everything and you can literally do whatever you want. How would your life plan out? So here's a quick look at my Odyssey Plan in Notion, and as you can see, I have 3 different versions for the 3 different versions we spoke about, and under each one I've kind of just summarized years 1 to 5 and written very briefly what my life could look like over these 5 years. I just want to be really clear here and say that you're not going to follow through on everything that you've written, and your life is going to change. It's going to take some twists, it's going to take some bends, and you're definitely not going to follow everything that you've written down. But the purpose of writing an Odyssey plan is to actually identify your passions, your interests, so to help you focus your life in the current moment so that your future can look more like how you dream about or how you envision in your sort of free time or when you're daydreaming. Okay, so now that you've written down the 3 alternative plans, how can we now use this information? This is where the not overthinking part is really crucial, because for as long as you've written down everything that's come to your mind very naturally and as they've come to your mind, this will help you a lot in identifying your true passions and your true interests. Okay, so now you want to grab a highlighter and then you want to look through all 3 of the plans and you want to circle or highlight all of the reoccurring themes. So the things that happen in all 3 versions of your life, what are those things? So for example, when I wrote out my Odyssey plan, I discovered 3 different things that were reoccurring in all of the plans. Very quickly I realized that creating content was something that I had in all 3 different versions of my plans. As well as this, some other things I had were traveling, so I really wanted to travel, and I had this in some form or some increasing form in the 3 different plans. And finally, I noticed that in all 3 of my plans, I had some element of focusing on my physical and mental health, and especially trying to prevent burnout. So I suggest you do this as well. You take a highlighter and highlight all of the common themes, and then look at those things, because those are the things that you really need to focus on. So once you've identified your common themes or reoccurring themes, these are the things that you want to be focusing on, because at the end of the day, these are the things that will make you happy and feel satisfied in life. Whilst I can't really sit here and tell you how to actually go about focusing on these various things, because at the end of the day, you and I are not the same people, but I can tell you from my personal examples and my personal experience how I've been able to apply some of my common themes into my current life. So if we look at my Odyssey plan, we earlier identified that creating content is something that I was really passionate about and something that I really want to do in all 3 versions of my life. So I'm currently doing exactly this by building in creating content into my current life. I haven't really stopped studying medicine, I haven't really stopped my training to become a doctor, but what I have started to do is to create content on the side. So I have this YouTube channel, I have a weekly newsletter where I write a lot about self-improvement, productivity, different books that I'm reading. So I have these 2 sort of side projects that I'm doing as well as medicine, and so that allows me to build into my current life one of my core themes or one of my reoccurring interests from my Odyssey plan. I think the ultimate take-home message is that once you've identified these reoccurring themes and interests, you need to have a bias towards action, because a plan is always going to remain a plan until you take action. So it's all good and well writing out these 3 different versions of your life and how it might pan out, and it's even better if you highlight and work out what are your common interests, your common passions, but if you don't take any action on them, they're always just going to remain a plan, something that you once wrote down but never actioned. I think the Odyssey plan is beneficial in 2 very important ways. Firstly, it's going to make you very happy if you're following your true passions and true interests. And secondly, later in life, you're going to have less of those moments when you're thinking, oh my god, I should have done that, I could have done this, what if I done this with my life? You want to be avoiding those regretful moments when you're thinking, my life could have turned out a very different way. And I'll say, do check out my previous video on how I achieved some of my most ambitious goals, as I really think it ties nicely into the Odyssey plan and taking action on your reoccurring themes. At the end of the day, this is all just a plan and nothing will come of it until you take action, so really bear this in mind when creating your Odyssey plan. So that's all there is to the Odyssey plan. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and a comment down below, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more regular content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.